Hey, everybody. Okay, so as promised, I want to talk a little bit about this new moon and give a little more perspective about gate 4 as we work with the energy of this Leo new moon. So, the Leo new moon is on August 16th. And what Leo brings to us, let's talk a little bit first about Leo season. Leo is this time of our it's deep love and passion and creativity. Leo brings us this sun sign, this ability to kind of amplify our love, our self-love, our relationships. It's a playful energy. It's a big love energy, right? And so we've got this Leo energy that's right in the heart of fire season. And so when we look at the five elements, fire is the season of love, passion, but it's also the season of expansion. It's this place of where we're blooming, right? We've been through the cycle of the year. We've been in winters, seeds have sprouted into spring, and now we're in full blossom. And if you could see anything going on in my yard, it's almost like a jungle, right? There's this it's manifestation in form, right? So we've got this energy of blossoming going on at this time of year. And then we've got this Leo energy, which is this like what I said, that alignment with our big courage, our big, this is the time for our bigness, right? This is the time for our big self-love. It's not a time to hold back, right? So that's, we've got this essence going on with this new moon. And but the new moon in general, so when we look at the archetypes of the phases of the new moon is really when we get into that metal to water energy. We get down into this alchemist energy of the darkness, right? The darkness of like, what am I ready to release? What am I ready to what am I ready to reveal to myself? What seeds am I ready to plant? And so in the archetypes, that the alchemist, right? When we're at this place of like fiercely letting go of what no longer serves us and claiming what is ours to claim, planting those seeds for the future. So that's the new moon energy. It's a time of setting these deep intentions for what we want to have grow and blossom in the future. And it comes to this process of letting go of what we don't want. But as we know, when we try and really, so Leo brings us this energy that says, what do you really desire in the world? What do you really want? And we're going to talk in a second about how gate 4 kind of amplifies this energy. But anytime we start really talking about what we really want, we get what I like to call as the ship of saboteurs who show up and say, these are all the reasons why you can't have it. All the fears, the self-doubt, the criticism, the judgments, and generally the things that we get in our own way, right? Self-sabotage patterns. And so when we look at the alchemical process that I work with, that and I teach to my practitioners, is really about like we kind of imagine what we want, and that's what this Newman wants us to do, is really imagine like beyond possibility, beyond reason. And so that we'll get again into gate 4, but beyond reason, beyond what your mind could possibly come up with. What in your wildest imagination, what do you really want? And this new moon helps you to set those intentions. It also helps us to look at what gets in the way of that. And anytime if you just sit right now and close your eyes for a minute and think, what do I really want in the world? What do I really desire, deeply desire? And not from the ego state of desire, but from that deeper, what I would call aligned with the creator energy, that deep soul desire. Who am I here to be in the world? How am I here to show up? As soon as you do that, I guarantee you will have at least one thought process or one emotion that says, you can't have that. You're not good enough. You haven't done the work for that. Whatever it is, our brains have a way. And so we'll talk about it in a second too, but this is a neocortex gate. It's like our brains have a way of getting in the way, right? Like getting right in there and telling us why we can't have the thing that we really desire, the ship of saboteurs, as I like to say. So Leo asks us to be deeply courageous to face those deep fears, to face those parts of us that are afraid or have self-doubt or imposter syndrome, or and the vulnerability it takes to really face those fears, right? So to be brave is, and to be courageous is to face it, right? So it's like, so Leo gives us this extra kind of boost in our ability to do that, to ask ourselves, where do I think I'm not worth this? Where am I not believing in myself? Where do I have issues around this deep belief in my truth and who I'm here to be and what gets in the way. So Leo kind of asks us to have this wholehearted commitment to our dreams and our passions. And when we say wholehearted, what we mean is applying all of these deep, high vibration emotions to our dreams, belief in our dreams, but not just with our mind. It's a heart-centered belief. So it's feeling the sense of gratitude for what you already have, that it's already manifesting, but also that deep self-love and compassion and kindness, and forgiveness, right? So that's what it means to have this wholehearted energy behind it. We also have, astrologically speaking, as we move into this new moon, we have Uranus, who is square to this new moon. Wherever we have square energy, we have tension. It builds tension. And tension in our lives is always the place where we can really make change. Uranus brings us this opportunity to really shake shit up, right? Like that's what Uranus wants to do. It's got this, it comes in like ready to kind of break old patterns up and make space, form new visions, right? So it's a very transformative energy, and it goes along with this kind of metal alchemist energy of like, what patterns do I really need to break up, really need to release? What do I really need to, and then in breaking that up, what emerges? What's that gold nugget, that crystallized vision of what could be, right? And so let's bring in the gate now. So gate 4, if you haven't heard my whole vlog on gate 4, go back and watch that, because I really break down the importance of this gate for the future of humanity, right? This is a really big humanity-based gate, and it really has to do with this relationship between reasoning, the neocortex, and our constant need to assign reason to things, and our ability to imagine beyond reason, our ability to imagine possibility, our ability to get our answers. And then to see how answers don't come from the brain, they come from the field, they come from our authority in human design. The answers always are going to come from our authority, and then the brain serves that response. And so when we look at this gate, we see this evolution from the shadow side, which is where I need reasons, and the deep shadow of that, that's where I'm intolerant, where I might be blaming something. In our work with Dr. Daniel Amen, when we do automatic negative thoughts work or ant work, this is a red ant, right? Like this is, he calls them all, there's 9 different types of ants, and the only one that's red is blame, because when we're in that blaming situation, we really are stuck. We cannot move beyond that, right? Like, and that's the whole point of this gate, is like beyond the reason. Beyond the reason there is understanding. Beyond the reason there is a state of grace that is forgiveness, that I don't need to blame something. I don't need to name it and blame it. I just need to have this moment of understanding, which makes the space for acceptance and compassion, and really ultimately forgiveness. So when we talk about those 3 states, we're talking about the gene keys, and forgiveness, not like I need to forgive you, remembering that forgiving someone else automatically puts a right or wrong in the situation. This would be forgiveness that's even beyond that, universal forgiveness, that nothing could have been wrong in the first place, which takes, I mean, right, like this is one of the harder ones for me in my life, is like, sometimes I've even been able to heal because I've been able to name the problem with the other person, blame it on that, right? They had a hard childhood, so I could blame it on that. They had an alcoholic dad, I can blame it on that. And then therefore I can forgive them for how they treated me, right? It's like, that's kind of how I've done a lot of my forgiveness work in my life. And this gate asks us to even go beyond that, get bigger than even that it was never wrong in the first place, right? So it's like, it's hard for our human brains, right? Because our human brains really want to label things with reason. But when we can put down reason, when we can truly, and that's the evolution of humanity as we evolve beyond the need to have reason, there's this catch-22, which just naturally means that if we don't have to assign a reason, then it all is right in the first place, right? So there's like this big, expansive, heart-centered place, right? So we are in this state, we've got this gate that's being activated that's saying, where am I getting in my own way? Where am I? So intolerance, so the shadow side of like that blame, that intolerance, it can also be shame. Like, where am I not thinking I'm enough? Where am I the problem? Right. So we're also looking at self-sabotage in that same way, it's not just external, although this gate is really about is a relationship oriented gate, right? It really has this paradigm of, I have to love myself. I have to move past my own intolerances, my own judgments, my own shame, really have this deep self-understanding. And from that, we really emerge through the lens of self-love. And self-love itself is all it takes to move into that grace state of forgiveness, and mostly for ourselves, right? Like, because it's really about self-love first, and it's really about dealing with core wounds. So we've also still got Chiron in retrograde, which is our core wounds are up. We've got Venus in retrograde, which means our core wounds might be up in our relationships, and we also have Saturn in retrograde saying, what's here in your soul school? Saturn saying, what are you here to learn about your core wound in relationship, right? You might have all of that kind of amplified on this new moon as well. And it's asking you to say, what am I willing to let go of in these situations? Where am I willing to forgive myself? Where am I willing to move past my intolerances, move into understanding? And then in that space, what is the possibility that emerges? And beyond reason, right? So now we bring that gate back into the Leo energy of like, what is my deepest desire? What am I here to do? And who gets in the way of that? What parts of these are getting in the way? We all are a bucket of parts. I love parts work, and I love to combine parts work with human design, because it really, we've all these gates. They've all got their own personalities, their own activations. And so here we can look at those parts and say, who is it that is ready to be released? What am I ready to release? What fear am I ready to look at? What can Uranus shake up for me? What can where can I move past those self-defeating patterns and back into that place of deep self-love, so that I can make these big changes and align with big possibility. Like, this is a time to set those intentions and not hold back. We've got the sun that illuminates Leo, that's got this big gate. We're in this new moon energy. So this is the time to say, I'm not going to have self-doubt, and I'm moving in the direction. What is my infinite possibility? Who am I here to be? Who gets in the way of me being those things? And let Uranus shake it up. Like in quantum biofeedback, there's a waveform that you can use that's a sawtooth energy, and that's a little bit how I feel into Uranus. Is like, it's like gonna cut through this old pattern and like tear it up, right? Make space in it, like and that might feel uncomfortable because it's going to push the edge of our comfort zone. And that really kind of brings us back to the relationship of this gate in the I Ching. Is this, can I be brave enough to face the expanse of possibility, to let go of all reason and allow source to guide me into what's next? Can I allow the sage to emerge through me, right? Like, by staying in that state of can I know what I know without knowing anything at all, right? So it's okay, so this is the energy here. Like, new possibility. What is the new possibility of your life, and how would you align with that if you could heal all of your saboteurs? So I encourage you to take time then in this new moon time, sometime today, especially outside, because this is the sun sign. So really be in the sun if you can. and allow this energy of who am I ready to let go of? What parts of me am I ready to see and love deeply, but integrate them. When I say let go, and this is a big energy of let go, new moon and all of the things, I don't mean like, I get really frustrated with people who are like, just let that shit go, right? Like letting go is very difficult. We actually need to integrate. So the parts of us that are holding these narratives, they need to be seen and they need to be heard. So take time, get in your heart, open that light of your heart, invite the part in and say, what do you need to tell me? What do you need to feel loved? And let the part have a conversation with you. Let the parts that are like, you can't be that. I'm currently writing my book, actively writing my book. And every day I have to sit with my part that tells me that I'm not smart enough to write this book, that I'm not, I don't know enough yet, which is, if anybody knows human design, I have a one line, which tells me all the time, I don't know enough yet. So I have to sit with that part every day and invite her in before I start writing and say, I see you and I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. And I know you think I'm not smart enough yet, but I know I am. And so what would you rather be doing while I go and write this book? Because this book is ready to come into the world and I have something really important to give humanity, and it's time. So that kind of energy, right? Like pull the parts in. It's not pushing away what we resist persists. So pull those parts into the light of your heart, wrap them in self-love, wrap them in compassion. They got there for a reason. You created them, or they're part of your chart, and they're here serving you in some way. But often they need you to know what they need you to know before you can integrate them. I highly encourage you to use tapping with that, even though I have this part that feels this way. And move through the tapping. If you don't know, you can get on Google and look for any tapping solution. It's pretty easy there. It's all over. You can find it. Use other energy modalities. You can use neurovascular head holds if you've ever seen me teach those. But the easiest one is one hand on the back of your head at the neck, at the base of the skull, right at the neck, and then one hand across your forehead, right? That takes the past situation and the present, and it brings them into cohesion together. So use that while you sit with this part and say, I see you and I love you, and tell me your story. And then once you've done that, once you've really integrated, what is the new possibility? So in Karen Curry Parker's work with this gate, it's really about new possibility, but it's about the seedling of a new possibility. And that's why it's in the alchemist energy. It's not necessarily the expanded state of new possibility yet. It's like, what can I imagine could be? And I'm going to plant those seeds, and I'm going to let go of all expectation of what might happen, when it might happen, how it might happen, right? Like seeds of possibility are planted, and then we nurture the seed, but not the outcome. We can't control that the seed that went in the ground, we can't make it then be a different thing. We can't make it pop up when it needs to pop up. We can't make it expand when it needs to expand. All we can do is garden our seeds. We can nurture the seed. And so now is the time to look at how letting the mind imagine new possibilities and then planting them as seedlings without pushing the timing, without pushing. And that's a lot of what Karen talks about with this gate. So, okay, so you have your homework for this new moon. It's such a powerful new moon. And that's why I really wanted to spend some time talking about the gate first and then the new moon, because this is a time to really believe in yourself, to really let go of the places where you don't believe in yourself, and to use the energy that is available to you right now to say, what core wounds am I ready to integrate so that I can really live the life? I can be brave enough to imagine the life that I want to have, and then I can plant the seeds of possibility, moving in that direction with no need to control the outcome. All right, y'all, I know this was a big one, but that's how I've been rolling lately. So there you go. And I will see you soon.